I used to have nothing. And then I got this job. This family. But nothing lasts forever.
I heard you had to leave in a hurry.
It's never easy these days.
So what are you going to do?
I've lived a lot of lives, but I'm done running from my past.
I know you're out there.
I know you know I'm out here. So we're gonna talk like grown-ups?
Is that what we are?
It's good to see you too, sis.
What brings you home?
We have unfinished business. We have to go back to where it all started.
Lucky us.
One thing's for sure. It's gonna be a hell of a reunion.
Still fits. Family. Back together again.
You got fat.
What's up, everybody? It's Warren, and Phase 4 of the MCU has officially begun as we have just got the teaser trailer for Black Widow. Now, it came out 6 hours earlier than it was said to come out, but none of us are complaining. There is a lot to break down. The footage was absolutely incredible, and what's very interesting is that I did a video maybe a week ago talking about a leaked description of the trailer. It was pretty much 100% accurate. But there is a lot to talk about with this teaser trailer. It didn't really seem like a teaser trailer. It was over 2 minutes long, just barely, but it felt like a real trailer. It introduced us to a lot of characters. It told us a little bit about the plot, but most importantly, it showed us some really awesome action scenes. But we're just going to go through the trailer and break it all down. I'm still doing an Xbox One and PS4 giveaway. All you have to do to enter that is subscribe with the notifications turned on, like the video, and leave a comment down below. So, the trailer actually starts off with Budapest. It's a place of major importance to Black Widow. We've been hearing about it since the very first Avengers film. It also has a lot of relevance to Hawkeye, who just may appear in this movie, but I'll talk a little bit about that later. So, it opens up on Budapest, and then we go to her dialogue from Avengers Endgame, where she says, "I used to have nothing." And as she's saying this, we see flashbacks to her in the Red Room training to become Black Widow. These are the same shots that we saw from Avengers Age of Ultron. But then she says, and then I got this job, and then it flashes to scenes from the very first Avengers film when she's on the carrier. And then she continues on to say this family, as in now we have this family, and it goes to scenes from the first Avengers again with her and Hawkeye, and then her and Nick Fury. Now, of course, we know that Hawkeye was actually sent to kill her. Hawkeye was sent on a mission to take out Black Widow, but instead he made a different call, and he actually brought her in to make her work for S.H.I.E.L.D. So that's why they're showing Hawkeye and, of course, Nick Fury, because those are the two people that brought her in. And what's really cool is that in Avengers Endgame, when she says, "I used to have nothing, but now I have this family," she's talking about the Avengers. But in this trailer, it's actually a reference to her new family. It's a reference to Red Guardian, it's a reference to the new Black Widow, Yelena Belova, and of course Hawkeye as well. But she finishes the dialogue off with, "But nothing lasts forever." And this is sort of a call to Avengers Endgame and the fact that she's dead right now. But then we really dive into the trailer and we start to get into the new footage. It shows the Marvel Studios logo, which turns into the Black Widow logo in a way as well, which is really, really cool. So then we cut to some new footage of Black Widow getting off a train in a train station. And then we hear the voice of what is presumed to be Thunderbolt Ross, and he says, "I heard you had to leave in a hurry." Now remember that this movie is going to take place between the events of Civil War and the events of Avengers Endgame. So when we hear him say, "I heard you had to leave in a hurry," he's referring to the fact that she's wanted now. In Civil War, at first she was with Tony Stark, she was with the Sokovia Accords, but then she turned at the very end. She helped Captain America and she helped the Winter Soldier get away, and therefore she is is a criminal now and she's a wanted fugitive. So when he says you had to leave in a hurry, she had to leave because she's wanted. And when she says it's never easy these days, that's what she's referring to, making the right decisions. And then we see here a bunch of vehicles and convoys, and we see Thunderbolt Ross in a really weird de-aged way. Now, Marvel is known to do this. They did this with Captain Marvel for Nick Fury, making him look younger, and they did this with Ant-Man and the Wasp as well, but this is more of like the Ant-Man and the Wasp version. Now, when we saw Thunderbolt Ross in Captain America Civil War and Avengers Endgame, he was not this young. They weren't making him look this young. So that means, of course, that this is in the past, because not only are we going to explore what happened with Black Widow between the events of Civil War and Infinity War, but we're going to go to her past as well. And clearly Thunderbolt Ross had some hand in that. So then we hear his voice again and it says, "So what are you going to do?" Black Widow says, "I've lived a lot of lives," and we see her go through just a ton of different fake IDs. Of course, she's a spy, that's what they do. But she says, "I'm done running from my past." So she's referring to the Red Room here, and then it goes to a scene where she enters a house and we hear the voice of Yelena Belova, who of course is a different version of Black Widow, but a version of Black Widow nonetheless. So in this scene, it's really cool because you essentially have two Black Widows, two women who were trained to be master assassins, fight each other. Natasha enters the room with her gun in her hand, ready to fight. And we hear Yelena Belova say, "I know you're out there." And it's funny because she actually kind of sounds like the Scarlet Witch in this, but of course it's Yelena Belova. And she says, "I know you're out there," of course because she's been trained as a master assassin. And due to that fact, Natasha says, "I know you know I'm out here," because they were trained in the same way. They were trained to be able to pick up on everything. Be aware of everything. So then Natasha says, "So are we going to talk like grown-ups?" And they both turn a corner and both point the guns right at each other, and we see Yelena Belova, Black Widow, for the first time in this trailer. Yelena says, "Is that what we are?" And then the two of them go at it. And the fight scene is really, really good. It's pretty much what we expected to see from this movie. A lot of hand-to-hand combat. And judging by this trailer, it's all going to be just absolutely awesome. But then eventually the two of them stop fighting and Natasha says, "It's good to see you too, sis." The two of them are now friendly. They're about to eat some food together and Yelena says, "What brings you home?" Now, she refers to her as sister, but they're not actually sisters. They're just referring to each other as that because of the Black Widow program. They were sisters in the Black Widow program. Now, she asks, "What brings you home?" and the two of them take off on a motorcycle in true Black Widow fashion, but then Natasha says, "We have unfinished business." Now, what she's referring to is the Red Room. She wants to take down the Red Room so no more little girls have to be pulled into this program. So no more little girls have to go through what she went through and what Yelena Belova went through as well in her Black Widow training. And we hear her confirm that because she says, "We have to go back to where it all started." And then we see an awesome action scene which actually has 3 Black Widows in one scene. We have Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, we have Yelena Belova, Black Widow, and it looks like we have Melina Vostokov, Black Widow as well. And what's really interesting about this next scene is that we can see 2 people standing in basically a blacked out room staring at a bunch of computer monitors with a bunch of red dots on them. This is most likely people in charge of the Red Room, and the dots on the computer screens are most likely the Black Widows that they have. But what's really interesting about this scene is that you can see a woman on the left clearly dressed up as a Black Widow, but it is not Natasha Romanoff and it's not Yelena Belova. It does look like Melina. Now, there has been some rumors going around that Melina could actually be the villain. But judging by this teaser trailer, that does not appear to be the case. It appears that her and Natasha and Red Guardian and Yelena are very close together. We have this awesome shot of Black Widow in her new white suit we've seen pictures of before, but this is the first time that we're seeing the actual white suit in the trailer. She jumps on some type of rig to take out a bunch of guards. They look like they belong to Taskmaster. They're wearing sort of similar suits to him. And then we actually see the Red Room. We see a bunch of young Black Widows training. So this movie really is going to give us a lot of information and background on what Natasha Romanoff went through to become Black Widow, and of course what it took to get out. And then we finally see Taskmaster for the very first time. He's riding in his tank like we saw from the leaked photos, but what's really interesting here is that he has a bow. Now, it's very interesting that we don't know who is playing Taskmaster, and it has been rumored that Taskmaster isn't actually the villain of the movie. Now, I'm sure people's first reactions would be, wow, maybe this is Hawkeye. Perhaps Taskmaster is Hawkeye. Now, if Taskmaster exists in the time period between Civil War and Infinity War, it's definitely not Hawkeye. And it definitely seems like that is the case. But if Marvel is tricking us, and these scenes are actually in the past, which I don't believe, but if they are, this could be Hawkeye. but that's just speculation and probably not true. Taskmaster definitely is going to be in the current time period that the movie takes place in. So Natasha says, we're going back. Yelena Belova says, lucky us. Then Natasha says, one thing's for sure, it's going to be a hell of a reunion. And then we are introduced to Red Guardian. Now, for those of you who are thinking, wow, this guy looks a lot like a Russian version of Captain America, that is exactly what he is. During the Cold War, the Russians tried to steal a super soldier serum. They got their hands on something similar and tried to adapt it in their own way, and this was the product, Red Guardian. So he's literally the Russian version of Captain America, but the super soldier serum isn't the same, which is kind of why we see him out of shape in this teaser trailer. And they even make a joke about it in the trailer. He says, family, back together, and Melina says, you got fat. But this is the family that Black Widow is referring to in the opening dialogue for this trailer. Yes, it comes from Avengers Endgame, but now it's implied that it is about this family. And then the rest of the trailer is just amazing action. We see Red Guardian go up against Taskmaster, looks awesome. We see Yelena Belova shooting a rocket launcher. And then we have this final last scene that is just completely awesome. Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, looks to be jumping off an exploded ship, just soaring through the air while Taskmaster's villains chase her, shooting her in the air. And she's just falling through the sky, almost not even fazed by it. And then we cut to the new Black Widow logo. So that was the very first trailer for Black Widow. What did you all think about this? I thought it was absolutely awesome. A great way to kick off Phase 4 of the MCU. It has officially begun. We have a lot more Marvel news coming up this weekend, so be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on anything. Also, don't forget to like the video and leave a comment below so you can enter my giveaway for a chance to win an Xbox One or a PS4. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.